It was basically an old baby doll with a missing eye and a brown dress. I don't know the origin of it, and I didn't really bother to ask. November rolls around, and my parents leave for their vacation. Everything goes normal for a little while, but then things start to get really weird. Because I'm the stereotypical little brother, I put the doll on my sister's bed, who's in university, and I took a picture to send it to her, as a joke. She hates dolls. So I leave the room with the doll still in there, and head into my room just to send the photo and move on with my life. A few minutes later, I hear a massive bang. I jump, startled, and I go to look into the hallway. The door to my sister's room has slammed shut. Now, our hallway has no opening windows, and there wasn't any kind of draft. Even if there had been, that bang sounded forceful. A little on edge, I open her door, and I see that the doll has fallen, face forward, even though I left it sitting upright and slightly back. I thought it was weird, but I brought the doll back into my room and moved on. That night, I'm sleeping normally in my parents' room. I have to sleep in there while my parents are away because I have to keep an eye on the dog, and she refuses to sleep anywhere else. I wake up suddenly in the night, which is odd for me. I usually sleep all the way through the night. I check the time and I see that it's around 3 a.m. This immediately freaks me out, because I read that this is the witching hour, as it were. I glanced over at my dog, and she's awake too with her head up. Also strange. I put on my little puppy voice and ask the dog if she needs to pee, but she just stares back at me, and then looks to the closet. I look to the closet too, and I see that it's open, even though I very much remember shutting it before going to bed. I quickly turn on the lamp and get out of bed to close the door. I don't even bother looking inside. My teenage brain still thinks it's a ghost, and that that's far more likely than an intruder. So I get back in bed, scroll on my phone a little bit, and finally fall back asleep. I wake up the next morning as usual to feed my dog, but when I go into the hallway, I see that my bedroom door is open. I always close my door when I'm not in my room. Now, it's still dark out, because I have to feed my dog at around 6 a.m. or she throws a fit. I look inside my room, turn on the light, and that doll is on the floor. I left it on my bed. I remembered the last night, and now I'm feeling paranoid, but again, I just put the doll back on my bed and left, deciding to just have my door open. After feeding my dog, I went back to sleep an extra couple of hours, and that's when the most frightening thing happened. I was woken up by a loud banging sound, loud enough to wake me, the heaviest sleeper in my family. I quickly got up and ran downstairs, my first thought being that maybe my Nana had fallen in the basement and was banging for me to help her. But when I got downstairs, I realized the banging was coming from the balcony door. I saw the glass shaking as if something was hitting it from outside. The banging was so loud that it was shaking the counters. The strangest part is that my dog was just standing in front of the door, staring at it. And she's the type of dog who will start barking if a mouse farts. I'm really shaken up at this point. It's completely still outside, no wind at all. I text my parents and tell them what's going on, and as soon as I do, the banging stops. They tell me it's probably nothing and not to worry about it. I went downstairs to see my Nana, but she had no idea what I was talking about. Then again, she's almost completely deaf, so it didn't surprise me that she couldn't hear it. She can't even walk up the stairs, so there's no way that she was causing any of this. That was the last weird incident that happened. The next week, my parents got back. I didn't tell them everything that happened, because I didn't want them to think I was a chicken or something. Needless to say, I moved the doll out of my room until my dad brought it back to his golf team. Nothing strange happened after that. I still have no idea what went on during those couple of days, but it certainly was strange. I sort of wonder what the story behind that doll is now, but I don't think I really want to know. Ever since I was 5 years old, I've had an extreme fear of dolls. I am terrified of them. Now, I know that there are a lot of people who are, but when I reached the age of about 16, my mother finally told me where my fear may have come from. It's from a personal experience. To this day, I can never fully answer whether I believe in the paranormal or not, but my personal experience with a doll given to me by an aunt who practiced black magic haunts me until this day. When my mom told me this tale, I had minor flashbacks of the feeling that I had with this specific doll. From the first day I was born, I never slept properly. Never did, never have, and probably never will. I didn't cry or anything when I was awake early. I would just quietly play with my hands and wait for my mom to come get me. I did this from when I was an infant until I was a toddler. Around age 5, we had an aunt from my biological father's side visit us. Now, keep in mind that I have nothing to do with my biological father, and this aunt may have wished my mother harm. Fijians from that generation are typically very superstitious, and many of them believe in black magic. The things I began to do made us believe that there was something very wrong with this porcelain doll that she had given me as a gift. My mom began to notice that I would spend a lot of time with the doll. My younger brother, who would have been around 1 to 2 years old at that time, spent a lot of time with my mom. I was a very jealous child when he was first born, so at first she wasn't too surprised that I spent my time away from them. One morning she came to my bedroom and was surprised that I wasn't there. Like I said before, no matter what time I was awake at, I never got up without her. We had a basement that my brother and I were strictly forbidden from opening and going into, because the stairs were spaced quite far apart, and, being small, we could easily have fallen through or down onto the concrete. She had a lock put up on the high door, just in case. Besides that, the basement was freaky as hell, and I never even wanted to go in there alone. Ever. This particular morning, along with noticing that I was not in my usual place waiting for her, she noticed that this freakish doll wasn't there either. Before she called out my name, she heard me sniveling downstairs. As she climbed the stairs down toward me, she saw that doll sitting on the couch. She heard my crying get louder. As she got closer, she saw that I was trying to open the basement door lock while crying. "Charissa, what the heck are you doing? Didn't I tell you to never go down there without me?" I started screaming and crying and ran to bury my face in her dress with relief. Such relief that she was there to stop me. I kept telling her, "Mommy, the doll made me. The doll made me," through my tears. I have no idea what this doll's name is anymore, but I apparently was saying the name of the doll instead of the doll. My mom, who is not a believer, was thoroughly creeped out, because she said that my tears and hysterical crying were not that of a child trying to find an excuse for getting caught doing something bad, but actual relief of being saved. She packed me up and we were off to my grandma's house, without the doll. We got rid of that doll stat. I know that this is a hard story to believe for anybody. I probably would have just played it off as me being a child and trying to blame the doll for getting caught. But I know that I never dared to get up without my mom, because I was scared to get up by myself, and I liked the attention of her coming to get me out of bed every morning. I also have very creepy memories of some things about that doll that I'm still too scared to even think about, let alone write down.